Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, today, this is intense now. April, this is what I've been talking about. I hope you're here to see what's happening. For the third week of April, I'm going to be covering April 16th to the 23rd. And here is, it's already started happening, but this is the time that the grand finale is going to happen, if it hasn't already, because I'm looking at the stellium of planets that are in Pisces in the nakshatra of Uttara Bhadrapada, which is a nakshatra of death, funerals, things of that nature. I don't like what I'm seeing here. Now, I am starting with April 16th, and we have a very dark moon. It is before the new moon, and a dark moon is where we're in the dark. We don't see things clearly. It's difficult. The moon has just crossed over Saturn today, and Mars yesterday, and it is really intense. So looking at this, the moon at least is in a better nakshatra. It's just shifted into Revati, which is a better nakshatra, but I can't say this is good. The moon is tied up with all the malefics, and Mercury on this day is conjunct Neptune. Yes, Mercury is conjunct Neptune, and that doesn't bode well for seeing things clearly. Things are definitely heated up and unclear. Mercury is debilitated here in Pisces with Neptune. There is a big fog. There might even be a big fog where something's created through an explosion of sorts. That's what I keep getting. And issues around oil and gas, I've been saying it this whole year. Be aware, this is the manipulative tool that's being used in this war in the Middle East. And it's making fuel and oil prices escalate, as I've been predicting for so long, and people were making fun of me. They said, why are you continually talking about oil and gas? Why? Because Neptune rules that, and Neptune was with Saturn, and then we have Mars trigger it. This is it, guys. So much is changing. This is explosive. So I'm looking at the 16th of April, and it's only going to get more intense as the moon moves on. And let's just get situated and ready for anything to come, because now I'm looking at Friday, April 17th. This is the new moon. This is somewhat better. And the new moon being in Aries does represent new beginnings. Yes, it does. So things, even though I don't like the fact that Mars and Saturn are almost exactly conjunct, it is, there's light at the end of this tunnel, even though I know things are heating up now, or have been. This whole few weeks, I can't tell you which day is worse or better, but things are culminating. I will say that. The moon is in the nakshatra Ashwini, and Ashwini is fast movement forward. Things are moving forward quicker and faster in this world, and it's a new beginning. All that's happening is a new beginning. And I like the fact that, I don't like the fact that Mars and Saturn are coming together. They're going to be exactly conjunct. And one wants to move forward, one wants to stay back, so it's frustrating. There are some majorly frustrating events happening, and definitely dealing with war. So this new moon does make the moon. Now the moon is increasing in light, and it's going to be coming to its waxing phase, which is new beginnings. So now I'm looking at April 18th. It's a Saturday. And on this day, yeah, this is where it all starts. You know, I don't know. Sometimes these aspects, that things can happen before they're exact. But today it's exact. Saturn and Ketu are in a nasty quincunx with Mars. Mars and Saturn are within a degree. And Ketu is at 13 degrees of Leo. Saturn's at 13 degrees of Pisces, and Mars is almost there too at 13 degrees of Pisces. This deals with major disruption, possibility of major attacks in war. Remember this aspect that we're looking at with Ketu. Ketu's loss. And Ketu in a 6-8 relationship to the Mars-Saturn. 6 is accidents and 8 is death. And we have these planets in Uttara Bhadrapada. It's all unfolding in front of our eyes. This is the crescendo of major war. Now the moon being in Bharani. Bharani is the birthing process, means something is coming together. It's still in Aries, and there's a birthing process. It will cross over Venus before the night is over. And this can start to bring better things from the disruption. So now I'm looking at Sunday, April 19th. And this is where Mars, of course, is 13 degrees exactly with Saturn. But what's coming up upon them is now Mercury, which means issues around travel will be a difficult time. And with Mercury aspecting Mars, it's going to be a very fiery, angry time. There's a lot to do with fire and anger and floods and problems with weather. Big time. This whole month, really. I didn't mention that, but I did in my monthly video. Floods and water. This is a difficult month. I know it's springtime in the northern hemisphere. It is, of course, fall time in the southern hemisphere. It's a change of seasons, but it's difficult. And really, I'm seeing with Mars being conjunct Saturn, quincunx Ketu, this can deal with violence. So this is difficult. Now the moon is in Kritika today in Taurus, and it crosses over Uranus. This can be sudden, unexpected events. Be prepared for what you see today. Kritika is ruled by a blade, and it can be harsh and deal with attacks. So now I'm looking at Monday, April 20th. And of course we have now Mercury is exactly conjunct Mars. Hateful things will come out of this day. Hateful attacks and communications. The way that we communicate with one another is nasty. And I think we're looking at some really explosive events still this day. But don't forget, Mercury deals with travel as well as communications. Things will get so screwed up. Maybe computer outages that affect travel, and or violent events around travel. They're all in Uttara Bhadrapada, which is a death-inflicting nakshatra. So now I'm looking at April 21st, which is a Tuesday, and the moon has shifted. Yes, it was in Taurus, it was in Kritika, then in Rohini. Now it's in Ardra on the 21st. And while it is in Ardra, And this is later in the day that it does go into Ardra around, gosh, I'm going to say, yeah, I guess it's around, yeah, afternoon, like noon or 1 p.m. Central Daylight Time. It goes into Ardra, which is one of the worst nakshatras for warm weather, storms, floods, things of that nature. But its symbol is a teardrop, and that is what we will be experiencing, because also we still have the Saturn, Mars, and Mercury. Mercury still conjunct Mars, and that is violent. And I'm not happy with the way things look. Even though the moon will be approaching Jupiter, sometimes this makes things bigger, more dramatic, especially with the moon in Ardra. It is not a good picture at all. Things will be happening that will change governments around the world and leaders as well, because this Mars, Mercury, and Saturn, Neptune are all in the 10th house from the moon. This is where it all sheds light. This is where it's all changing. Now I'm looking at Wednesday, April 22nd. The moon will shift into Purnavasu with Jupiter in Gemini. That is much easier, but we still have the violence of the Saturn, Mars, and Mercury all together in Pisces. Pisces deals with victims. There's going to be so many victims, and people even playing victims that aren't the victims. Be aware. This is a crazy day for relationships. Be aware that Venus is conjunct Uranus today and the next day. And that's, well, it's going to be conjunct Uranus, yeah, 22nd and 23rd. That is unexpected events happening in the area of relationships. So be aware of that, yes. So let's move to the last day I'm going to cover in this week, April 23rd, which is a Thursday. And we have the moon moving into Cancer. I know that the moon rules Cancer, but I have found that it makes people much more intensely emotional while the moon is in Cancer. And we are getting a little bit of relief from the Saturn-Mars conjunction. It's starting to move past. The crescendo, the events are starting, just starting. People are very upset still, but it's starting to calm down. The moon is opposed Pluto, and this does deal with issues around control and governments. This is a really intense time. And we have we have Venus, Uranus exactly conjunct. So expect the unexpected, especially in the area of your personal life with love and romance. The moon in Cancer is actually in the nakshatra Pusha, but what I find is when the moon is in Cancer, and especially Pusha, people are more insecure because they're looking for security. And this will be where things are starting to move in that direction. So that covers what? The third week of April. And as I said, the second and third week are the most intense. Now we're starting to calm down. So get ready for the next week, the last week of April. I believe things will start to calm down. So remember, if you want all these transits to know how they're affecting you personally, you need the Galactic Planner, because it'll take your chart and plug everything in. So you know how it personally affects you. Go to galacticplanner.com. As well as if you want my free newsletter, free predictions, go to my website, galacticcenter.org, and sign up for my free newsletter. Thank you.